A lot of my family members, they lose their life due to gang violence. My cousin, my uncle, all kind of people.
I lost one of my eldest brother last year. Some man passed by and shot him up. He got 14 shots. I went out there and took him up and bring him to the hospital.
The violence here was very intense. On a regular day, you would have just hear shots start fire.
Living in a community like Parade Gardens, it's tempting. The negative sometimes is all around you.
I was running the liquor store for about a year and a half until a shooting took place by the shop. And I kind of took a break from the community because the same people you feed today, same people turn against you tomorrow, you know?
People get up every day and they would have cuss or they would have find time for argue or fast in people's business. So that's actually a ghetto. That's the lifestyle of a ghetto.
The devil just get idle as things to do and knowing to find something for me to do because they can't tell me to do anything I'm going to do it. That is me.
I was a violent person, in trouble or trying to make money. Doesn't mean you're a bad person, it just means you're ambitious and you just went about it in a negative way.
I lose Will father by the bullet. I lose my nephew in 2017 by the gun. I lose my boyfriend in 2017 by the gun.
You know, the community cannot grow economically, socially, and even spiritually, you know, but due to the violence, because it poses a strain.
Whenever there are, rival factions are having violence and so on, we had gunshots oftentimes. Sometimes we didn't go to school because there were gunshots going on, and it tends to be very unpredictable. But even outside of that, there is a lot of violence.
Yeah, you may say don't Louis V. You know, me I talk for ghetto youth them now. Our time now, you know. Strong up. Born to be great. Well, boy. Every ghetto youth born to be great. Well, cook. Yeah, man, born to be great. Elevate no time to be great. All of the work I'm put in up for my family and my legacy. So careful and watch what you said to me. No enemy can't drain me energy. A great man and that them have to send me. Me stay focused, me eyes open. Call long time and find out friend. No pop no innocent, me read up a style round them. Hey Louis V, tell them man born for be great. Up on the road man gone for the gate. Hear me tell them man born for be great. Try stop the thing, me know what time you wait.
Hey watch ya now, hey see ya now, hey good ya now.
There was a picture of two Jamaicas. One which you would see in the tourism promotion videos, highly developed infrastructure in place, homes and houses of immaculate construction and immaculate condition. And then there was this other side, not necessarily far removed from those communities in which most of the residents in those communities are of good economic means.
Jamaica to me is a fabulous country. I love the geography of Jamaica. There are mountains, there are beaches, there's rainforests. Everywhere you look, there's something in nature that gives you something remarkable.
Jamaica has that vibe. You know what I mean? As Bob Marley said, it's just a natural mystic.
But it is a land of contrasts, and it speaks well beyond the stereotypical tourism poster images that one sees of beautiful beaches and a great vibe.
We're not frightened for nothing, car we used to go without. From food stamp and no stamp, fill up a passport.
Jamaica has what we're known for, the white sand beaches, the rivers, the eco-tourism, the natural beauty. But there's also the violence. There's also the ghettos, as people call them, those inner city communities. People homeless, people sleeping on the streets sometimes. A lot of young boys at stoplights begging and trying to wash your windows. A lot of crime as well.
Jamaica is a fantastic island. Its people are warm and friendly, but there are several major contradictions or products, you might say, in this island, which You have to get to know, to understand and appreciate the country.
CSJP was conceived to address a negative trend in violent crimes. Coming out of the 1998-2000 period, the thinking at the time was that something had to be done to arrest this trend, to reverse it, to prevent it from going in the same direction. Complete reliance on the security forces was not going to work. Hence the conception of a comprehensive crime prevention program to address some of the needs of residents in particular communities.
The Citizen Security and Justice Program, CSJP for short, has been around for almost 20 years, and it really was motivated by what we know to be some negative characteristics around crime and violence in Jamaica. Jamaica features in one of the top 3 countries around the world for homicides per 100,000. That's not a statistic that anyone is proud of.
A major intervention we did was to reach the more extreme of the violence producers through the peace management initiatives, the violence interruption program.
The gang that I've been involved with has killed people and claimed lives.
You watch over now, no put no gun in your transport. If you collect no bank note, no that at the wrong spot, hey.
I'm 19 years old. I'm from the community, New Nursery, Ticknam Park. This is a nice place, you know, but at times, violence tear the community apart. Straight gunshot a hearing. My father selfish and my mother selfish out by the fish market. That's how they try to make an honest living. My mother has 4 kids and my father has 3. I grew up part-time with my father, then I gone over my mother, gone live. Then I gone back on my father. The family life, it hasn't been the best. The gang that we had at school is more like friends, classmates and other people, you know, other people's family. I couldn't really say I could have come out of it again. It was too late. Because I done involve and get in a whole heap of fight, get caught at school with knife, get multiple suspension, whole heap of thing where it led to the fact where I got expelled from school and I'm here not doing anything, you know, from not doing anything. You gotta get involved with the wrong company. The Peace Management Initiative, they are the ones who tried to guide me. They really stepped into my life and said, "You, this is not the path that you should be taking." The Peace Management Initiative is an organization which targets at-risk youths, unattached youths, guys that are involved in violence overall. No one really wants to be walking around killing people, shooting, robbing and everything, but they are a product of your environment. Sometimes they just can't do any better.
Have to make a mark like the chalk on the blackboard, hey. Have to do one thing for mama pot load. Swearing off to make the clock load. Here and now.
The people are what really make Jamaica unique. But there too lies the contrast. There's a great degree of inequality in Jamaica, and you will see that before you get to those stunning beaches.
The poor and marginalized communities, where you would find a lot of the violent crimes taking place.
Whether it's in resort towns or very upscale neighborhoods very close by, you would find what I would call abject living conditions. So not proper housing, galvanized fencing with tracks that are entryways into people's homes.
Very poor infrastructure, lack of social services. I'm talking about lack of potable water and pipe water within the homes. The roads infrastructures needed improvement, houses dilapidated, electricity inconsistent in its supply, and so on.
We have some very tough years where the young men have adopted a very entrepreneurial, independent spirit, which leads them into finding their own solution to their economic empowerment, and that usually in the criminal underworld.
One of the major plagues that is affecting Augustown is crime and violence. A lot of persons, they are full of potential, but because of financial challenges, that's one of the reasons why they cannot really achieve their goals and aspirations. And some, you know, unfortunately, they turn to crime and violence.
After the watching from mama pot load, swearing off and make the clock load.
I find that a lot of the young men just
have never gotten much positive reinforcement. So you just resign to, well, you know, you start to believe it, you know, you don't see much prospects for yourself anyway, so what use is there? And when you have a young person thinking like that, it's a very dangerous thing.
If it wasn't for CSJP, you know, living in an inner city community, plagued with crime and violence, anything is possible. Probably I would have been in the morgue, or probably I would be behind bars and so. I never really choose the gun. You know, I always focus on academia. I have to be very careful at times when I was at school. I couldn't come home because a lot of shots were firing. You know, roadblock, you can't actually come home, you have to stay in the library. And so it affected me. 2008, I received a scholarship to attend the pre-university school at UWI. I was accepted in 2010, and for 2 years, they paid for my full tuition. And as a result, I was able to achieve a tertiary level education.
Never give up and we never lose hope, and we never sell out and never sell the hope. No ironic with everything when we say so.
If children can't grow up in an environment that nurtures their whole being, so having a place to play, being safe in that neighborhood, surrounded by natural beauty, it's difficult to thrive in those communities.
I'm an obstetrician and gynecologist at the Victoria Jubilee Hospital. I am from the community of Trenchtown, specifically Arnett Gardens. It is an inner city community. It's a ghetto. Growing up, life was difficult. Difficult in the sense that there wasn't always enough funds to finance some basic needs. We always knew that school was a necessity. So we didn't have the luxury of anything additional outside of that. So it's school, food, and by food we mean the bare essentials. And sometimes we didn't have food, especially close to back to school time. By the time CSJP came on board, I was in the clinical years of medical school. First and second year, the fees are huge, but the fees triple by the time you get to the clinical years. So I actually really needed the help at that point. How I benefited? Financially, enough money to cover my tuition fees for the remainder of the clinical years, and enough money to cover my boarding fees. It was much easier to be able to focus strictly on achieving, doing well, and completing my studies. Education was really my way out.
Never give up and we never lose hope.
Education is a major factor in dealing over the long term with the violence that we have seen immobilizing the society.
Jamaica's had a very spotty up and down macroeconomic condition which has forced the state to not be active in providing services that I think should have been provided to the average citizen over many decades.
CSJP would provide drug treatment services and psychosocial support. In theory, those services are available through the government system, but as everybody knows, the government system is fiscally constrained.
Never give up and we never lose hope, and we never sell out and never sell the hope. No ironic with everything when we say so.
I used to smoke from a tender age. I started from about 7th grade. I used to smoke like 20 spliffs a day. I could go a day without doing it. That's how I used to attach to it. Like everything I think about, it's only a smoke and a drink. I couldn't keep a job because my dad got job smoke, my dad got job smell of weed, smell of rum. I get a break, I would do it. And then I would lose my job. I do the counseling for about a year. Now I have reduced to like 1 and 2 per day. No alcohol. It's helped a lot.
It never break with spirit growing up, bro. Roll out, spend the night, carbolics up, yes. I regular we run, but just to stay afloat.
I'm 25 years old and I live in 22 Hustle Street, Savlamar. My mom have 8 of us, so I only have 2 sisters, 5 brothers. I dropped out at 10th grade in high school because I got pregnant with my son. Then after I had him, I went back to evening class. I got my high school certificate and then I went to Hart with the help of CSJP.
Until more people have better access to good education and to good housing and to quality jobs, there will always be competing criminal activities. And the Jamaica justice system is taxed in terms of how quickly people are brought to justice. On average in this region, It's costing governments anywhere from 3.5 to 5% of GDP because of the cost of policing, the cost of the justice system, the cost of people who have lost lives through homicides.
This is the Mobile Justice Unit, and we are part of Component 3 of the Citizen Security and Justice Program. This unit is assigned to the 50 communities, designated communities under the program, to offer legal services. So we are the first point of contact. Myself, as the Legal Research and Records Officer, we go into these communities and offer free legal advice to residents of the designated communities. Thousands of persons have had access to this unit since its inception in 2017, and it is a benefit to the country because this now ensures that everyone has access to the judicial system, not just persons who can afford it. There is an important role that we play in advising the public and public education in terms of persons' rights. We assume sometimes that other persons are aware of what it is that they should or should not do, or the rights and privileges that they are entitled to, and that is not so.
Growing up on the banks of the hope, never give up and we never lose hope, never sell out and never sell the hope, no ironic with everything when we say the say so.
The Citizen Security and Justice Program was both about access to justice, but also how to have some effective social interventions to make sure that the communities at the lowest end of that barometer were able to lift themselves up or seek some assistance to get out of the degree of poverty in which they live.
The program in its early phases took a broad brush approach to addressing almost all the social and economic issues, such as training to improve employability of young persons, provide conflict management exposure, and to provide generally for the improvement in the conditions in which these residents live. There were 7 communities that the program started out with. Fast forward to today, the program is in 50 communities across 8 parishes. The target at the individual level was in the age range 17 years to 29 years old. The statistics are showing that up to 80% of young persons, mostly male of course, in that age range were the ones who were perpetrating the violence. And equally, around the same percentage were the victims of this violence.
More time you want the channel like me to all life a fight me, I feel control nightly. Wish me coulda stay home with me daughter then beside me, but circumstances she can't see me when me grimy. And to all me grow me.
I'm from Eaton Ave, Conspen Drive. I'm 28 years old. Never have no father, no mother, so it's rough. If I go to school and get kicked from Kingston Senior 2008. So comes me even consider board CJP, knowing that them have a program where they help you like me. I'm going to up in a jail because them come on the lane and say I look like a man and I put on ID parade. And from there, I'm in a prison from 2012 to 2019, that when body I come.
We passed a piece of legislation called the Zones of Special Operations. And that is essentially a legislation that allows us to introduce very strong policing in a community, which disrupts the gangsters, literally move them out, maintain the policing in there, and part of the legislation that we are allowed to use the soldiers to assist the police because we need more bodies.
The majority of these communities, they require opportunities for training, opportunities for proper education, opportunities just to get food, just to get certain types of employment. And that doesn't necessarily come through hide policing.
When we came on board, there were some invisible borders. There were many instances where community residents would not even cross a street to go to another one. We are at a facility now with a beautiful structure that was not here when CHJP started. And it is a facility where every member of the community is willing to go. This facility is being heavily utilized, just like the other we have built, renovated, and furnished. The primary intervention was to look at the young men and young women who had not completed school.
Get a youth a star enough for know. Every youth a star enough for know that. We're great and that we are go show.
I'm from Parade Gardens. I'm 29 years old. I am the CSR specialist at Carib Cement. and I also run my own gifts business. Growing up, things were a bit difficult in Parade. We had a lot of shootings, we had a lot of poverty, a lot of unemployment, so it was an underserved community. You know, when you look around, you see persons just on the street, a sense of hopelessness, no focus, no direction, and I wanted more. I mean, going to school was a challenge for me. I had to pull my gate and look left and right to see if it's safe, just to go to school. I tried to get involved in as many things as possible. I did receive scholarships, primarily from CSJP. I would sign up to go on internship programs. I would sign up to go on volunteer programs, anything that would keep me out of going into harm's way. When I was about to start college, my parents was like, listen, they didn't even give me $1 towards college because they just didn't have it and they really wanted to. And it was through assistance from CSJP that really helped. The first job I got was through a CSJP program at Scotiabank. I got an internship and I went there, did my best. But it was that open door that created that professional introduction for me.
Tell them man born for regret. Up on the road, man gone for the gate. Hear me tell them man born for be great. Try stop the thing, me know what time you wait.
Life in Prairie Garden is really rough. Sometimes it's this ackee tree that you see right here really carry me through. You know, I pick a few dozen, I sell some. You know, I use the money to buy some rice and flour, you know, and buy something to go with that ackee, and that carried me through for most of the years. I also relied on my mom a lot, you know. Even though I wanted to go to college, I know my family never had it. When I first got the call to do the interview with CSJP, I made it clear I wasn't interested in any particular skill like welding or any of those stuff, because growing up, I was really one with the wits. You know, I had brains. I mean, I like reading. I was here with nothing. Now I'm a trained programmer. I'm a trained web designer. I'm a trained mechatronics technician. So when I'm going to look a job, people are going to take my resume serious.
I don't dream like Martin. Some future for be brighter than starlight. Tell them man born for be great.
This is the opportunity I really wanted, to do my degree. And CSJP has created the perfect platform to put me in the hands of who had the chances and the opportunity to earn me. And I really want to thank them for that. When I heard about mechatronics and see the things that you can actually do with the knowledge, and I fell in love.
Big dream, that's the life for me. I think about from a young. Got studio coming no once in a gone.
If you present someone with something new, a new way of looking at the world, with the chance of improving their lives, possibilities are endless.
I came to be involved in CSJP in about 2015. It was after I left Hart and I started to be a member of the CDC, Parade Gardens, my community. And I was one of the persons they chose to help gather the persons to be part of their programs. I gathered like about 200 persons to sign up for the CSJP, go to school and get a little stipend at the same time. Some people just made mistakes and you know, they probably fell back in school, but now they probably want to change their life. It's not really putting money in their hands, it's a little stipend to try to better themselves. I just changed my mind state because I realized I could be successful negative, but let me try doing it positively. And that's where the CSJP came in, that's where the Unity and Peace came in. So it's about having effect on the change of the young people's lives, but doing it in a positive thing. I just seen upliftment. I seen a lot of people just being uplifted by it, inspired, have hope. That's what I see.
That parenting program has really helped reduce, for example, the levels of violence used in parenting techniques, which is one of the long-term drivers of violence in Jamaica.
After the watching from my pot load, swearing off and make the clock load. Here and now.
I was a good mom, but sometimes I turn my anger on my children. Sometimes something bothering me, and I just explode on the children. I live in Green Pond, and I'm 42, going 43 this year. I work at Farm Primary for 15 years. I did not get an education. I'm not good at the reading. I'm not good at paperwork. I grew up struggling. I had to run away from my mom. I grew with a lady across the road. She take me from I was 12 years old, and she got me in this very school. I graduated from here, and I did not go back to no school. The husband was going too far. His terms, you dey eat and they get fat, I mean, out back out of you. So you're not going to school out of my money. So my school days end there. At the age 16, I was washing people's clothes for a living, but here am I now. I have 3 beautiful children, Romario, Will, and Sian. I don't really hit my children. If I grow up in many of that situation, I will just cuss them and tell them dirty words and did not care. But when I get in CSJP, I learn how to talk to my children properly without hitting them. I signed up for the parenting group. I learned to be a better parent. I learned to control my anger towards them. I learned to hug my children more. If they have a problem, sit and talk to them. So CSJP taught me to listen what they're saying, for children have right to. When they do something good, tell them that they've done something good. Will lose his father from Will was 5 years old.
He got shot down the road.
Will go up with anger.
When people say stuff to me that I don't like, I was getting really angry, to fight.
I will start CSJP counseling at grade 5.
CSJP had teach me about life, teach me that no matter what I did, my father wasn't gonna come back. So if I'm gonna fight, if I'm gonna kill, it wouldn't make a difference.
We'll pass now from here to Green Pond High, and we'll going on good. I always tell my 3 children, I gave you what I don't got in life. So I try my best, I do my best as a parent to give my children what they need.
Growing up on the banks of the hope. Never give up and we never lose hope. Never sell out and never sell the hope. No ironic with everything when we say the same.
We have a lot of cases where the family structure is not there. Then you still need this sort of formation. And I think these programs are a way of providing that, outside of the family structure. It's another avenue to provide this sort of formation.
On the road, man, gone for the care. Try stop me now what time you waste.
I'm from 44 Tower Avenue, Kingston 11, off Olympic Way, near to Waterhouse. I was granted the opportunity to work with the Jamaica Constabulary Force for 2 years through the CSJP program. That program I've done a lot where my development is concerned. It was the on-the-job training. From there, I excel upon my skill. The stipend when I usually get from CSJP, I use it to send back myself to the Heart Institution to get a diploma in electrical. The program have done a lot for me, and it helped mold me in the individual I am today.
You know some my blessing can done. Man born to be great. Up on the road, man gone for the gate. Don't tell a man born to be great. Try stop me know what time you waste.
Standalone, CSJP cannot solve Jamaica's violence problem. It was never intended to. But what it should have done, and has been successful at, is identifying what works and what doesn't, so that those initiatives can be taken forward at a larger scale.
I am heartened by the fact that the Jamaica Defence Force has been one of our major partners in the training of some of these at-risk youths.
I'm from the Spanish town in Jones Avenue. I grew up. We didn't grow up in a happy home because we didn't have everything that we need. Most of the time I hear gunshot, nighttime, daytime. I see people die often. The CSJP, Citizen Security Justice Program, has changed my life a lot. They give me the opportunity to go back to school, get a trade, get a certificate, and they give me the opportunity to come at JDF to do my job experience, and from there I get to join the army. So they do really a lot for me. A lot of persons join the program from there. They are in school now or they are in their job right now.
Anything you want in a life, use every muscle and fight because we offer your team and never make it down, yeah.
These
skill, what I'm learning, and what I develop, it's all coming from Operation Friendship. This is where again, I get teaching. I go through a course before I can reach at ATL where I'm at now. I do level 3 in AC and refrigeration. It's coming through Citizen of Justice program. These skills I develop is a benefit to me and my family and to everyone else who I'm going to help to install them AC, or if not an AC, it's a water system, not a water system, it's a generator.
Richie on the job here is really helpful, and he's willing to learn, and he's learning.
Education is the key out. That's your ticket to a better life. It's a mindset where when you're educated, it's like you see life differently. You take on different challenges.
We have to find a way to restore their respect, give them opportunity, not charity. And that means change the system that they operate in. System must accept them as human beings who have the right to work.
You can design the life that you want. It really is so. You have to think it first, right? So it is at least just to try and invite them to consider that.
Sometimes people hit an hard rock from after they leave high school or sometimes during high school. We don't have much of these programs that will engage them. I mean, the college won't take them on. Places that need a lot of subjects won't just take them on.
The purpose of CSJP from an international standpoint was to help Jamaica, help the government of Jamaica test ideas and build an understanding of what works in trying to address the epidemic of violence.
The objective really was to mainstream all of the activities, all of the different pieces to solve this problem. Every ministry should already have been adapting their services to be able to take on some of the responsibility of what the program is doing for the last 20 years. And I still think that's possible.
The best credit I can give them is to take out what worked in their program and maintain those in a new direction.
I hope that the government will reflect deeply on what the program has had to offer. It is the interventions that we piloted and have shown that they are of value. They're of value because the persons who receive them said so.
Can tell it to help me be a better person than myself.
I think this program has been fantastic in helping people navigate through very, very difficult times in their lives.
When I just at CSJP, to do an interview, I couldn't do it. It's like I have no confidence in myself to do anything. With the help of CSJP, I build a lot of confidence. I have a mind of my own.
At that point when the program find me did it at my weakest point because I don't really know which path to turn, I don't know what to do. My outlook on life has changed tremendously. I'm thinking positive towards life now. I'm really trying to get my education back to the level where I need it to be and try to put my best foot forward in life and get something out of it.
Have communities got safer? There is some evidence that in the communities where CSJP works, some of those communities have got safer. Then we start to hit the macro problem that CSJP is a part of a solution. Many, many other things need to happen alongside CSJP for it to be successful, including effective policing. And the type of initiatives that CSJP has supported have to be delivered to a much larger scale for there to be that type of macro effect.
I think we need to think of it as what if we did not have a CSJP.
You might think that the crime rate is high. Without the work that they have put in over the years, it would be worse, I can tell you.
As far as I know, there's not another doctor from that community who is still in touch with the community. Most of the persons who I grew up with in terms of school age, my age, they were pregnant from very early. They have at least 5, 6 children. Some of them are ill now from, non-communicable stuff. Some of them have advanced stage cervical cancer. Some of them are dying of AIDS. I chose from early that that was not going to be the life for me. If I could help someone not take that route, or at least tell someone or inspire them to not go that route, then that was my goal.
With the diligence and vigilance that's required, then I think that we can see the needle move even more than we have after 19 years of social interventions that have been the CSJP.
Things can get better, you know, things can get better. But we need the support of everyone, the government, the wider society. Everyone needs to get involved. What we have to do to try and break the cycle of violence, the working from the grassroots level, try to get involved with the kids.
There's a lot of work to be done in Jamaica. There are a lot of challenges, and when you see results in front of your eyes, there's no price tag you can put on that.
I'm very proud of myself. I'm a technician. I'm a real technician. And I finished my program today. Today I'm a brother.
Yo, you me say though Louis V. You know me I talk to ghetto youth them now, you know. Our time now, you know. Strong up. Born to be great. Well, boy. Every ghetto youth born to be great. Well, cool. Yeah, man, born to be great. Elevate no time to be great. All of the work I'm put in for my family and my legacy. Yeah. So careful and watch what you said to me. No enemy can't drain me energy. A great man, and that them have to say me. Me stay focused, me eyes open. Cause long time I find out friend. Now pop my energy, me ready pop a style round them. Hey Louis V, tell them man born for be great. Up on the road, man gone for the gate. Hear me tell them man born for be great. Try stop the thing, me know what time you waste. Tell them man born for be great. Money enough, me I go on couple safe. Can't sleep on me hand in these days. Dog man born to be great. Hey, fresh off a flight, me no sleep last night. Funds all about, so me have to tour the earth.